What's up YouTube, Capital G here, checking out the brand new Draitron archetype that just got revealed coming out of Genesis Impactors. That is going to be our next deck building pack for those of you guys who don't know. And surprise, this archetype is ritual based, but oh my goodness, this is incredibly spicy. The design of this archetype is very unique, and it seems incredibly interesting and very fun because you don't ritual summon in a traditional way with this archetype. You don't ritual summon by counting up levels. You actually ritual summon by counting up attack, which is really cool. Anyways, we got a bunch of cards to talk about, so let's not dawdle. We're going to start with the main effect monsters, then we'll cover the boss card and the spells and traps. Now, the main effect monsters all have the same summoning condition, their typing, their level, stat line, it's all identical, and they all have a restriction, so I'm not going to repeat those over and over again. I'll read the first card and then I'll just kind of summarize the other one. So the first one is Drytron Ban Alpha. This is a level 1 light machine monster, 2000 attack, 0 defense. Again, that's built into basically all the monsters. Cannot be normal summon / set. None of this archetype, like nothing in this archetype, can be normal summon. None of the monsters. Must be special summon with a Drytron effect or a Drytron card's effect. You can only use this effect as a hard once per turn. You contribute one other Drytron monster or ritual monster from your hand or field. Special summon this card from your hand or graveyard, which is just nuts in my opinion. Then you can add one ritual monster from your deck to your hand. That's this guy's unique effect. The restriction, which again is built into like mainly all the monsters. You cannot special summon monsters the turn you activate this effect except except monsters that cannot be normal summon / set. Now, since nothing in this archetype can be normal summon or set, that doesn't really restrict you from going into other plays in this archetype. It doesn't restrict you from going into other ritual monsters or basically anything from the extra deck unless it's like a pendulum monster. So I don't really think that that's a harsh restriction in my opinion. I think the way you special summon these cards is incredibly easy, and I love the fact that they special summon themselves from the hand or the graveyard. Like, that is absolutely fantastic. Plus 2000 attack is pretty damn good. I know these guys special summon themselves in defense position, but still 2000 attack on a level 1 monster, pretty much unheard of. The next one is Drytron Ras Beta. Same exact thing for the most part. The only difference is this guy can return one of your banished Drytron monsters to your graveyard, and the boss monster does have a banishing effect, so it just kind of is it's a little utility card to help you out there. I'll talk about that more when we get to the boss monster. The next one is Drytron El Gamma, and yes, if you're getting Psy-Frame vibes off the names of these cards, like, you're not the only one. I was getting those too. This one allows you to special summon one Drytron monster with 2000 attack from your graveyard when it's special summon, and this can be in attack mode, so basically it just gets you any of those monsters back. This is important for not only ritual summoning but just beating your opponent's butt, and also, you can go for some spicy rank 1 plays if you want. You're definitely playing this card because it just helps with the resource game. The next one is another level 1. This one, I love the effect, man. I love the effect on so many of these cards. This one allows you to reveal one ritual monster or ritual spell and then draw one card. Like, do I even need to explain why that's absolutely amazing? Like, I'm not going to explain that. Let's just go on. You guys know that that's absolutely ridiculous. It's a +1. Who cares about the information your opponent gets? Chances are you're going to ritual summon the monster, or you're going to ritual summon like in your next turn or that turn anyways. The final one, it is Zeta, and this one allows you to add a ritual spell from your deck to your hand. I think having more monsters than spells is better in this deck because the spells are, you can't really do that much with them. However, the monsters you can use to summon the level 1s, and I feel like that's just like having too many monsters shouldn't really be a problem in this deck because you can always just use those monsters to summon the level 1s. Now, the big bad boss monster of this archetype happens to be a level 12, and when I first read that, I was like, wait a minute, bro. How are we supposed to summon a level 12 ritual monster when all the damn monsters are level 1. Like, what are you doing here, Konami? You don't even know how to make an archetype anymore. But again, you don't special summon by counting up levels. You special summon, or you ritual summon in this deck by counting up attack value. So this is Drytron Meteoronus, DRA. It's a level 12 light machine monster, 4,000 attack, 4,000 defense, limited removal. What's in this deck? Oh my goodness, man. Take this guy to 8,000 attack instantly. Take all the main deck monsters to 4,000 attack. That sounds spicy. Anyways, you can ritual summon this card with Meteoronus Drytron, which is the ritual spell. We'll talk about that in a second. You got a hard once per turn on your third effect. First effect, your opponent cannot target this card with monster effects. Okay, I'll take that. Second effect, if this card was ritual summon using monsters whose total level equal 2 or less, so if you use 2 of the level 1s, you get this effect. It can attack all special summon monsters once. So if your opponent has special summon monsters on the field, you get to just crack all of them bad boys. And with 4,000 attack, this can easily be a game-ending card. I mean, think about a deck like Generators that summons a bunch of, little attack tokens in attack mode. Like, you can basically just kill your opponent through the tokens, which is, I've had that happen before. It's not fun, but that effect feels like this card could easily be a game ender since it does have that 4,000 attack, and limits of removal is a thing. Third effect is, which I just love about this card. During your opponent's turn, quick effect, you can banish any number of monsters from your graveyard whose total attack equal 2,000 or 4,000. Then target one face-up card your opponent controls. For every 2,000 attack, send it to the graveyard. This is basically Drident on crack. I mean, seriously, that's what this card is. It's Drident on crack when it comes to this third effect. Number one, it's better than, you basically get rid of the same cards that Drident would, but you don't destroy cards. You send them to the graveyard, which we know is infinitely better in Yu-Gi-Oh! And in addition to that, you can get rid of multiple cards on your opponent's side of the field. This means if your opponent has like a field spell plus a monster, who cares? Get rid of both of them. And I like the fact that you can banish either 2,000 or 4,000 attack monsters. I think Chaos Max is going to work in this deck, by the way, just because it's also a ritual and it has 4,000 attack. And again, you could use it from the graveyard to even fuel this guy's effect. Next up, actually, let's go to the ritual spell. That makes a lot of sense. The ritual spell is Meteoronus Drytron, which is a ritual spell that can be used to ritual summon any ritual monster. So shout outs to Chaos Max. You can only use the second effect as a hard once per turn. First effect, tribute machine monsters from your hand or field whose total attack equal or exceed the attack of the monster that you want to ritual summon. And if you do, ritual summon that monster from your hand or graveyard. Second effect, if this card is in your graveyard, you can target one Drytron monster you control. It loses exactly 1,000 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. And if it does, add this card to your hand. What more do you want out of a ritual card? Like, seriously, this card's amazing. Not only does it let you monster reborn your damn ritual monster, it's like a Necros cycle because it can summon them from the graveyard, but then it also has an effect to put it back in your hand. Who cares if your monster loses 1,000 attack? Like, I'm fine with that if I'm getting a free +1 and I don't have to worry about running out of my ritual spell and not being able to drop ritual monsters. I'll take that effect. We also have a field spell in this archetype. This is Draitron Fafnir. It's a hard once per turn on this card's activation. The first effect says when this card resolves, you can add one Drytron spell / trap from your deck to your hand, except another of the field spell. Second effect says the effect of ritual spell cards and their activation cannot be negated. Spell speed 4s, gotta love it. Third effect says once per turn, if a monster is normal or special summon face up while you control a Drytron monster, you can decrease the levels of the face up summon monster by 1 for every 1,000 attack they have for the rest of this turn. Okay, so I'll be fully transparent. I'm not exactly sure what Konami is going for with that third effect. It can turn the boss monster in this archetype into a level 8 monster. I don't really know what the point of that is. It also works on your opponent's cards, but I'm not exactly sure how impactful that's going to be. I think you play this card just because it pays for itself on summon. This archetype does have very good spells and traps. You want to search those, and then also your ritual summons can't be negated, so definitely take that. Now you do have basically an emergency teleport in this archetype, which is bananas. It's Draitron Nova. It's a hard once per turn, normal spell. It says special summon one Drytron monster from your deck, but destroy it during the end phase. Play 3 of this card. Like, I don't even need to explain it. Just play 3 of this damn card. You're either going to special summon the one that adds a ritual monster or a ritual spell. The second that, they're summoned, and basically this is just E-teleport for the deck. E-teleports are just good in Yu-Gi-Oh! Play 3 of this card. We've got another normal spell, and it says that both effects are hard once per turn. First effect says target one Drytron monster in your graveyard, add it to your hand. Second effect, during your main phase, except the turn that this card was sent to the graveyard, you can banish this card from the graveyard. Target one Drytron monster you control. It gains 2,000 attack until the end of your opponent's turn. This is Drytron Eclipse. This feels like a good card. Maybe like a one-of in the archetype. I think recovering a monster is fine because the monsters do basically give up other monsters to summon themselves. And that second effect, man, like, don't sleep on that, because that can turn the boss monster into, 6,000, which definitely could kill your opponent. Also, it could, easily turn your level 1s into 4,000 attack. Thus, you could pay for the whole ritual summon with one monster, which I think is what they're kind of going for as well. I wish that you could activate it in the same turn. Like, that would have been bananas. You've got a quick play defensive spell in this archetype called Drytron Asterism, and it's a hard once per turn. It says during the main phase, target one Drytron monster or ritual monster you control, and one face-up monster your opponent controls. The target you control loses exactly 1,000 attack until the end of your opponent's turn, and if it does, destroy the opponent's monster. And again, this is all, these cards are all searchable from the field spell. This is, to me, like a little backup plan, probably a one-of in the deck, just in case you don't kill your opponent. You basically have a quick play way or a quick play spell that just kills any of their monsters, and just feels pretty good in my opinion. Your last card is actually going to be it's going to be a counter trap, which doesn't just work for this archetype. This is Draitron Meteor Shower. Keep in mind, this is searchable. It's a counter trap with a hard once per turn. When your opponent would normal or special summon a monster while you control a ritual monster, negate that summon, and if you do, shuffle that monster or monsters into the deck. I like the fact that even though this feels like a go second or a deck that wants to one-shot your opponent, it feels like this deck has backup plans. I mean, this is basically a searchable Solemn Warning that I would argue is even, kind of better in this deck because there's no life point cost. And then also, I think it's just better to shuffle monsters back into your opponent's deck than to kill them where they can be reborn or banished or something like that. And again, this card is searchable. If you don't kill your opponent with your ritual monster, you can search this out. You can, have a Solemn Warning. Plus, you can also have the double Drident effect of your monster. Like, you have some good defensive tools, which generally is not what ritual decks do very well. Necros was like the only one that, had some defense, but mainly it was just stunning Necros. This feels like a deck that actually has some good disruptions, even though it's a ritual deck. And also, Cyber Emergency is going to get printed in this set because it does search the entire archetype because, can't none of these monsters be normal summoned. But what do you guys think of the Drytron? My honest opinion is I love their design. Seems like a lot of fun. I think it's very interesting. I like how they don't basically, they don't ritual summon traditionally like other decks do. I like the fact that they have good defensive options, which you don't generally see out of ritual monsters, and I'm very excited, man. I'm liking this set so far. The only way Konami could bring me down is by, printing a bunch of pendulums or something like that. But anyways, guys, whatever you guys think of the Drytron, you leave that in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.